Hey guys, it's Cool Sister here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, and for those that are returning, thank you for always sticking by me. So on this tutorial, we're going to learn how to make long sleeve shirts with drawstring by the side. If this is something you're willing to learn, stay tuned while we jump right into the video. So let's also know that our shirt consists of different parts that makes it a shirt. First is the collar, then the shirt body, then the sleeves, then the cuff. The cuff is in the sleeve, is below the sleeve, then the bodice stand and the sleeve blanket. So to begin, we're going to come down by 1 inch from the edge of our paper. This is going to serve as our margin and also our shoulder line, where all our measurements will be coming from. First of this tutorial, we're going to be starting with our front bodies, then we'll use our front bodies to draft our back bodies. Then we know that our shirt has a button stand, and that is what we're going to impute first on the pattern. And the button stand I use, the measurement is 2.5. I've marked that from the edge of my paper, 2.5. On the shoulder line, I marked 2.5 for button stand. All shirt has a button stand, so this measurement is very important. Then after you've marked that, you measure this length of your blouse, the length of your shirt. If you check the thumbnail, what I posted is a very long shirt, so I'll be making use of a 30-inch length, marking it down from the shoulder line down to 30 inches on my pattern. Then I'll just roll across when I'm done. So that 2.5 inches I marked for the button stand on the shoulder line, I'll also mark it down on the length of my shirt down, because the button stand goes way down to the shirt length. So then we'll mark a straight line, then label it button stand, so that's to be easy for us to work with. Now there's a margin, and this stands for the button stand. So the next I'm going to be imputing is our shoulder line. My shoulder line is 16. I'll divide that by 2. That will be 8. I'll be marking 8. My measurement will be coming from that margin line. Remember that margin line that ended the button stand. That's where I'll be taking my measurement from. So I've imputed the shoulder line. Then the next thing I'm going to impute is my neck width and my neck depth. I'm using the front. I'm drafting the front pattern first. So the neck width I'll be using is 3 inches. The neck depth I'll be using is 3 inches. And I'll connect the two with a cuff. On my shoulder line, I'll be coming down by 1 inch. Then connect it back to my neck line width. So next I'll be marking my chest line. The bust I'm using for this pattern is a bust of 42 inches. So for that measurement of the bust, I'll be using a chest line of 9.5 inches. But if you're using something less, like you can go to my how to draft a bodice video. The link is in the description box on how to get yours for your own bust measurements. So I'll be imputing these measurements across this 9.5 measurements I marked for the chest line across. Then the next thing is that I'm going to join it with a straight line using my ruler. So this line serves as my chest line. So the next thing I'm going to be marking is waistline. My waistline in this case is 18 inches. So we'll impute that and square across. But for this, because of this tutorial, I will not be making use of this waistline. It's just for tutorial purpose. If you want line is important when you want to make like a fitted shirt. But since I'm making a free shirt, I won't be making use of it, but I'll just teach you how to use it, because you know that our waist is where our dart is going to be. But for the cost of the tutorial, I won't be using it. So I'll be taking the 8 I measured for the shoulder measurement. I'll be placing it on the chest line. The 8, I'll bring it down. So when I'm done, I'll connect it to my shoulder tip. That's the way I'm doing it in the pattern. I'm trying to form my armhole. Then I'll divide this measurement into 2 equal halves. Whatever I get, I'll mark it. And for that marking, I'll go in by 0.5 inch. Then so the way I'm connecting it, I'll connect it this way from the shoulder tip. I'll connect it to that 0.5 inch I went out by. Now it's time for me to impute my bust measurement. My bust measurement will be divided by 4. My bust measurement in this case is 42, but because of I want my top to be a free shirt, I'll be adding 2 inches to my measurement. That will be making it 44 inches. When I'm done, I'll divide 44 inches by 4. That will be 11 inches. I'll mark that measurement on my chest line. Like I said earlier, I won't be making use of my waist measurement, but if you want to make a fitted shirt, you'll be using your waist measurement. You will just divide your waist by 4 inches. Then when you are done, you add 1 inch for that. So that is it. But in this case, I won't be using it, but the line is just there for tutorial purpose. And now I'll be taking the measurements I have on my chest line. I'll be taking it down to my chest length. So next I'm going to connect the lines that I marked. The line I marked on the chest line and the line I marked on the shirt length. I'll be marking it with a straight line. Sorry that is not showing, but it's just a straight line marked down. So next I'll be connecting my armhole line. I'm connecting my armhole line to the 0.5 I went in by. Now our front bodice is ready. I'll be adding my sewing allowance, a sewing allowance of 1 inch by the side, a sewing allowance of 1 inch. Then for the other allowances, I'll be adding it to the fabric directly. So just watch the way I'm cutting it through. So you can see the button stand. The button stand is going to stand on its own. So we'll be transferring it directly to the fabric with the button stand for the front only. So this is how it's going to look. This is the whole idea of the button stand. When you fold it in, that is where your button is going to be. It will now remain 1 inch. You know that our button stand is 2.5 inches. We're going to use 1 inch, 1.5 inch to fold it. Then we're going to leave 1 inch for the button stand. So that's the whole idea of the 2.5. If you do it on your fabric, you understand what I'm talking about. So when you bend it, it forms, you have a space for your button to stay. So now I'll be using my front pattern to cut my back pattern directly on the fabric. But before you do that, you have to put your fabric on fold. You know that the back does not have any zipper. You know how a shirt can be. It has no zipper at the back. It's closed at the back. It's just the front that has an opening. So you place your fabric on fold. Mind you, if you are using a rumpled fabric like this, make sure it is iron, because it will affect your measurement at the end of the day if it's not ironed well. So now I'll be using my front pattern to cut the back. So just the way I'm going to place it on the pattern, I'll be folding in my button stand, because you know that our bag does not have any button stand. So you fold it in, then you place it on your fabric on fold. So you can see that I left a 1 inch by the down for sewing allowance. For the down part, I left 1 inch for sewing allowance down. So next I'm going to use pin to hold in place my pattern on my fabric so that I'll be able to work with it. So now I'll be adding 0.5 inches on my fabric for sewing allowance on the armhole. You know that we didn't add it to our pattern, we just added for the side seam allowance, but for this, for the shoulder and for the armhole, we'll be adding 0.5 inch for joining allowance. We're going to be working on our back neckline. You know, the back neckline and the front cannot be the same. For the back, we're going to be going down by 1 inch. It's meant to be a depth of 1 inch, because you know that it cannot be low, it has to be a high neck at the back. Then the width will be the same thing as the front, so that's what we'll be marking now. But before we do that, we have to draw a guideline, our shoulder line, for it to help us guide us on how to mark this neckline. So from there, come down by 1 inch for the depth of our neck, then connect it back to the shoulder line. Then use your curve to connect the two parts together. So when we are done marking this, we'll now add our sewing allowance of 0.5 inch on the neckline and also on the shoulder line. So when we are done doing that, we'll cut through. So now our back pattern is ready. And now I'll be transferring the front bodice to the fabric. Then you have to go up by 1 inch for sewing allowance by the down part, just the way you did it for the back. Then place your pattern on your fabric well. Then when you're done, you use pins to hold it in place. Now we're going to be adding our sewing allowance. Like I said, we didn't add it on the pattern, so we're going to add it directly on the fabric. 0.5 is our joining allowance. We're going to use, we'll add this measurement on the armhole line, the shoulder line, and also on the neckline. Then now you cut through. Then open up the center front. Then make sure you notch your button stand starting the margin on the top and the bottom, so to be easy for you to work with, to be easy for you to point it out while sewing and bend it easily. Now see the part where I notched. You can see that I've ironed it to give a mark, so to be easy for me to work with it. So that's 2.5. The same thing you marked on your pattern is what is going to transfer to your fabric. Then you go to the back side. Then you know that we have 2.5. On that 2.5, one is going to be the blanket where the button stand. Then another one, the remaining 1.25 is what we're going to use to bend in our button stand. So now see the way I've marked it. 1 inch, 1 inch, then 0.5, then we'll use 0.5. See the way I'm just bending it. This is how you are going to do yours to make it easy for you. Then you sew through with your sewing machine. Then when you are done, you'll have 1 inch remaining where your buttons are going to be on. So now see what it looks like. We are done sewing it the way it looks like now. We now have our button stand. So for the other part of the front, you also do the same way you did for the other part. You know, this front bodice has two parts, so what you do for one, you do for the other. So that's it. So now we'll be adding the back to it, replacing the back front side facing each other. I'll be bringing the back bodies to it. So when I join the two, I'll be joining them on the shoulder first. Just watch the way I'm doing it. So here I'm done joining the front and the back together. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to join the sides. But before I do that, I'll have to align my front and back bodies to make sure that they're equal. So you know that we have a drawstring by the side of our shirt from the thumbnail. So by the hem of my shirt, I'll be going up by 10 inches. I didn't use 8 again because I realized that it was too short at the end of the day. So I'll be using 10 inches up from the hem of my garment. So when I mark there, this is where our drawstring will be inserted, so there will be a space there. So the next thing we're going to do is to mark our sewing allowance of 1 inch that we added when we were cutting. So we're going to sew through on that line, then leave the space for the drawstring down. Then on the space you left down for the drawstring, you open it up, then you iron it down so that it's going to be smooth and straight. So when we are trying to cover it, it's going to be easy. You will do the same for the other side. But before we insert the drawstring or sew it down, we are going to bend the hem by the 1 inch we put on this for the sewing allowance in the beginning. So the 1 inch, we'll mark it and bend our hem with 1 inch. So we'll do it for all the parts of the shirt. Then when we are done, we'll move to the drawstring and work on it. So for my drawstring, I'll cut a fabric of 2 inches wide, and the length is going to be 30 inches. I'll be using it for my drawstring. I'll be cutting 4 pieces of this. Then I'll be folding it this way. Then when I'm done folding, I'll do this for the 4 pieces of drawstrings, then insert it to the space I left for it on my shirt. So when I'm done bending, this is what it looks like. So now this is where we're going to be inserting our drawstring. You can see that I'm done hemming the down part. I hemmed it first. You have to hem down first before you can insert your drawstrings. Now just watch the way I'm inserting my drawstrings. So, and when you are sewing, make sure that your drawstring is not on the way, so that you don't sew on your drawstrings. Instead, you sew on your allowance. So I'm just trying to mark the 10 inches that is meant to stop, where it's meant to stop, so that I don't exceed the measurements. Then use my pin to hold the drawstring in place while I sew. Make sure you lock this part twice. You run through your machine on that particular part 2 times. You lock it over 2 times, then you continue your sewing. So now we are done sewing it down. See what our drawstring can do. This is the whole idea of it. By the 2 sides of your shirt, it just gives it this runched look, and it's so nice. So yeah, so what remains now is for us to insert our collar, but I will not be doing that in this video. I have a tutorial on my channel on how to cut and also fix a collar on a shirt. The link is in my description box. And for the sleeve, I'll be doing that in the next tutorial because this video is getting too long. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment. Thank you. Bye.